All right. So while everybody's texting and focusing and consuming social media, I'm kidding. So welcome to another live today, special live because or the one and only couldn't assist, couldn't join us today. So today we have a special guest. We have Mike Francois. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So we've made sure that no matter what the goal, we have a goal and we said that at the beginning of the year that we would have a live every day till for the rest of the year. So we like anything in anything in business, you just things come up, then you have to figure out and be creative.
You learn to work with it.
That's right. So Mike is one of our brokers and is also our business development guru.
Well, I don't know about guru.
Well, I say guru because in business or in as an entrepreneur, you have to set yourself goals. And today, our topic is having exciting goals.
Right.
I think by having exciting goals, it helps you achieve them quicker and faster, but also makes it way more fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you think. You've been an entrepreneur for years.
When we were talking about goals, I think we had that discussion, earlier about setting big goals. And I think that for some people, for everyone, it's different. For myself, if I have a goal, I like to break it down into little goals in order for me to be able to achieve the big one in the long term. I think that sometimes it could be scary for some people, depending who you are, to have a goal that's very, very big, almost seems unattainable. But if you can break it down into pieces and have these small victories, then at that point you'll get to exactly where you're going.
So having the small victories a good way to break down your big objective, your big goal. Don't you feel that it makes it to see only the small goals? Doesn't it make it like non-exciting?
Well, it depends. A good example of that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Let's say the playoffs.
Right.
If a team gets into the playoffs, whether it's basketball, hockey, or whatever it is, they approach it with a game at a time. They can't look at the end result right away, because if they look at it like that, sometimes it seems like a little bit too hard to fathom. So they take one game at a time. Once they won that game, they move to the next one. They win that game, they move to the next one. Boom, series is over. Now they're ready to move to the next series, because anything can happen in between that particular point in time. So if you tell yourself, okay, well, you know what, we want to win a championship this year.
Right.
It's a beautiful objective. Now, for you to get to that champion, you got to get past the first round. So once you're past the first round, then you're looking at the round after that until you get to the last round. And then you're like, well, look, now we got a shot. You know what I mean? To get to where we're going. So for me, it's always been more feasible to look at it in that way than to just look at the big number at the end.
Okay, but you said a word feasible.
Right.
When you have, okay, we'll take the same example. You're looking at the championship. You want the Stanley Cup or whatever championship it is. As an athlete, that's a pretty exciting goal.
Exactly.
Right. But don't you feel that the fact that we're only looking at that one game at a time, or only that first round at a time, it allows ourselves to accept the defeat?
Not necessarily, because you want to win that first round.
Because at one point you're like, well, I have to just make sure that I jump that first step.
Right.
But at the end, your goal is not to win only that first step. Your goal is to focus and to do whatever it takes to obtain. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we hear a lot of athletes, and same thing as entrepreneur. Entrepreneur or athletes that'll say, well, it's not that bad. At least I got to X, the X goal. Maybe I did achieve maybe 60% of my goal. Is achieving 60% of your goal or 70% of your goal or even 20% of your goal, does that make your goal one exciting enough that you've did everything in your power to make it happen?
Right.
Or
I think that every athlete is different. I mean, if you want to compare athletes, I mean, you want to look at the greatest ones. You want to look at LeBron James. You want to look at athletes that have achieved a lot.
Because these guys, well, the fact that they won the first round for them, that's
it's not enough.
The fact if they didn't manage to get to that championship, that means everything else,
it didn't count, right?
It didn't count.
So I mean, they wanted to win a championship. They knew that they had the elements to do it, but they had to approach each game as if it was their last game. Each game as if it was their last game. Each objective that you set for yourself, no matter how small it is, it's the one that you want. Because once you have that one, you can move to the next one and move to the next one and move to the next one. If you come into the first game and you've got 7 rounds and you come to the first game and say, oh, we're going to win this championship, then you might get some surprises, So
that's what I do every day, and that's why I win every day. I come in and I'm like, I don't care who's in front of me. It can be Mike Tyson, Kobe Bryant. I'm the type of person that I honestly think, I really think that back in, I don't know, he got me. I really think if back in the days, on my top of my game, I can win against Kobe Bryant.
Probably.
See, that's how I always thought.
That's how you got to think. That's how you got to think. You're. I always
rest in peace.
But what I say is that you always got to be better than the man in the mirror the next day. That's your real competitor, because you don't necessarily know what other people's realities are. So I think that if you're able to look at yourself in the mirror today and be better than that guy tomorrow, then you're getting to the point of where you're starting to achieve something. So you can't exactly look at the guy next door and compare yourself to him. You don't know his reality. You don't know what he's been through. So you got to compare yourself to yourself and just better yourself every day. And if you set yourself an objective, then set yourself in a way to win that objective. You can't tell someone how to do something. Somebody might say, okay, you know what, for me, I don't need to do that. I want to fly to the moon tomorrow and I'll be able to do it. If that works for you, fine. But for everyone, it's going to be a different approach. For me, I could say that, realistically speaking, if I looked at, let's say, a number and said, I want to make $20 million, in the span of 2 days, then the odds of that happening is probably going to be a little bit challenging for me. But for somebody else, it might not be the same thing. So for each one their own. Me personally, whenever I have a big goal, I like to break it down into pieces and create a plan. And from that plan, I follow that plan and then start step by step to achieve it to where I'm supposed to go.
And I want to make sure everybody understands that when you talk about that big goal, you won't put down that big goal, or you won't
diminish it.
You won't diminish it. There you go. You won't diminish it. No. So your big goal can be as big as it can, but you're just gonna find a way to break it down so that you can, I guess, access it or get there faster.
Exactly. Like if you've done events before, people who have done events before will notice, listen, I'm doing a big a party or a big event on such and such date. We all know you want to do it, but in order for you to get there, you need steps, you need a plan. In order for you to achieve that, you need to say, okay, well, we need tickets, we need a venue, we need to know what we're going to serve, we need to do this, do that. So all these things take planning, and as you're going through these steps, you're approaching to the end game. And when you finally get there, like, hey, we made it. But it takes planning for you to be able to achieve that, and that's whether it's in real estate, you're a mortgage broker, you're just a businessman, a contractor, whatever it is, you need a plan. You can't build a house if the architect doesn't give you a plan. Yeah,
I love this. So again, this channel, the objective of this channel, we're all about growth. We're all about giving ourselves tips and strategies to get there. Mike, Jeff, myself, Steven, do we have questions or comments from our friends?
Do you think Julia is asking if you think manifesting your goal and like speaking it out loud helps you reach it?
Absolutely.
Let's rephrase, because I don't think everybody heard the question. That was who again?
Julia.
So Julia's asking to speaking your
to to
manifest your goal? Does it allow you to get there?
I think yes. I think in a sense that
Thank you, Julia.
thanks. I think that if you have a goal, you need to write it down. It helps because in your head, it's only an idea. Once you write it down, you actually have a plan. You can actually go forward with it. But a lot of people think about things and nothing ever happens because all they have is thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do we know that had ideas? Oh, one day I'm going to open a restaurant, or one day I'm going to do this and that. They've never done anything.
That's true.
They're still there today with the same idea because they never got down to write it down, to calculate a plan, to see what the cost would be, look at locations, and start planning what they would want to do. Because once it's on paper, you have something there. You can actually present it to other people that would want to invest. So I think that it's very important to write down what you think and to go from there and see what happens.
I appreciate that. So you said to break it down, to manifest, so to write it down, and then that will allow you to plan it and to have an action plan. What are other steps? Or I know in the French version you talked about the calendar as well.
Right.
Well, it comes back to planning.
Right.
What do you do? You've been in business for years,
Yes.
broker for years. You're gonna get hurdles, challenges, bumps. What do you do in those moments to keep your eye on that objective that can be ambitious?
Keep your eye on the prize.
Eye on the prize and not let go, because in the real estate business, we know 83% of new brokers within their first 3 years will quit.
Yeah.
As they were excited, they write down their plan. They had an actual plan. They were motivated. I'm sure for some of them, they already also had skills
Right.
to add on. So how do you keep your eye on the prize and don't give up?
It's more than having skills. I think that planning also take into consideration that you have to look at incidentals and things that may occur along the way. I mean, on your way up, it's never a straight curve up. I mean, there's slopes. There's going to come times where things aren't going to be that great. I think that having a mentor, having somebody that you can maybe rely on, that you can ask questions on, is important. Doing your proper research before getting involved in things, understanding the costs that are involved. You're going to have to pay, for example, in real estate, you have to pay for your real estate license. You got to pay your monthly with whomever it is, banner that you're with. Like, all these things come into play. If you're not making any money within the first 3 to 6 months, then you're going to have debt. And you can't expect things to always go rosy. I mean, you're going to have those ups and downs, at least until the ball starts to roll. So I think being able to ask questions, being able to have the right people to back you up, to give you the support that you need to be able to move forward, is going to make sure that when you get to that time that you want to quit, that you're not going to quit. It's like having a gym buddy.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm not getting results. I'm not going anymore. And your gym buddy says, oh, come on, man, we're going anyways. You need to have that support. And I think if you have that, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to make it. They say that a lot of good ideas never actually came to fruit because people quit too soon.
That's very true. That's very true. It comes back to a challenge. If you're connected and you're not aware, a challenge that's Etienne, Gabriel, and myself. It's been 8 weeks, so we're just starting our 9th week. We have a very ambitious business goal. So we decided until we get to that business goal, we're dedicated to not drink one ounce of alcohol. We went for dinner last week, and you saw me drinking my tap water. Exercising every day, and not eating junk food.
Right.
And to make ourselves accountable, well, we log our training in our watch. We have to share our trainings. We have to share our photos, our dinner. So sometimes if there's no good food or nothing good enough, I'm not eating.
Right.
Because we're so focused, but also that we have ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a way
you have
to
an objective.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to reach that objective. And I think that, talking about Gabriel, he says, oh, wow, when are we going to get to that objective? And, he's passing it day by day, because if he has to look at the end game, he's going to say, like, wow, that might be a little bit longer than anticipated.
Of course. Because we might get there in 2 weeks or in a month or in a year.
So it'll happen what it'll happen. But as long as you can concentrate yourself in what you're doing right now, then the results at the end of the day will still end up being magnified to what you were looking for.
I appreciate that. Steven, do we have other questions or comments from our friends?
Yeah. Nicholas is asking, now that Etienne and Gabriel aren't here, spill the beans.
Well, obviously, since I'm here, we all know who's the alpha. Okay, so that's the first thing. Gabriel was supposed to be here, and the second that he knew or he learned that Mike was down to participate. Well, he's like, you know what, guys, can I go home? So thanks, Nick. You're a real. Is that Sebastiani?
No.
Another Nick. Well, anyways, Nick, thank you for your comment. I'm always here. I'm always here, ready to rumble. No matter what's the objective, I'll make it happen. And there you go, Steven. Do we have other questions?
Yeah. Dave asking, how do you deal with negative in terms of your goal? Like,
so David's asking, how do you deal with negative feedback towards your goal?
Simple. Don't tell people your goals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think because people will always have something to say. So if you're a person that you really have an objective or a goal that you want to reach, if that person isn't on your team, then just let everyone watch you reach it.
Because if you're saying, because people will say, no matter what, if it's positive, negative, people will say something about your goal, right? So unless when you say to not share that goal, do you not share it until you reach it?
Well,
to be able to show
it, they'll see it.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. I always look at it that way. When I reach it, you'll see it, and that's it. Because if you and I were building something together, then we have a common goal.
Yes,
that's AB. But Mr. C over there, all he's going to do is try to find reasons under which, whatever, you're not doing that good, or this, that, and the third. So you want to avoid that at all costs. So in my opinion, I think that if you're worried about people talking negativity, you're always going to have it. You're always going to have people that are haters. It's natural. It's just what it is. But at least when that happens, you know that you're doing something good.
That is a good point. It's true. Louder they speak, that means you are doing something right, because you're
getting their attention.
You're getting attention, and we all, as Etienne says, good or bad, as long as you're getting attention, that's all that matters, right?
Exactly. So if you're worried about people being negative, then it's simple. Just don't share it with everybody. Share it with the people that are on your team, that are rooting for you. And I mean, at the end of the day, everybody will see you when you achieve that goal. That's it.
That's right. Steven, do we have other question or comments? Well, anyway, Steve, thank you. You're always there. Actually, you're always there. You never miss one episode so far. So, Mike as well, thank you so much for filling in for Gabriel and Etienne.
It was great.
It was great. So everyone, once again, if you want to comment, discuss, you have ideas of topics you want us to discuss, we're live every day at 4:00 from Monday to Friday. So don't hesitate. And until then, see you tomorrow.
Take care.